do two things. Two things: play the victim, and is completely delusional.
A'ja Wilson, the reigning WNBA MVP, has recently stirred up controversy with a series of bold and questionable statements. From claiming that the WNBA schedule is the toughest in professional sports, to insisting that she could defeat NBA player Josh Hart in a one-on-one game, Wilson's remarks have sparked intense debate. Fans and analysts have been left scratching their heads, as her comments seem to be creating more backlash than support, particularly at a time when the WNBA is finally gaining significant attention and viewership. One of the most striking claims Wilson made was about the WNBA schedule. During a recent appearance on Asterix, the roommate show Asterix, Wilson argued that the WNBA has the most grueling schedule in all of professional sports, even more difficult than that of the NBA, MLB, or NFL. She pointed to the transition from college basketball to the professional ranks, citing the lack of rookie combines and the intense schedule that follows the NCAA championships and draft. Wilson's point about the abrupt transition for rookies has some merit, as players often go straight into training camps with little preparation. However, her assertion that the WNBA season's 40 games is tougher than the NBA's 82 games, MLB's 162 games, or the NFL's 17-game season was met with widespread ridicule. Many fans were quick to point out that MLB players, for example, play 162 games per season, sometimes with doubleheaders, and travel across the country regularly. The NBA, despite the issue of load management, still requires players to endure a grueling 82-game schedule that involves extensive travel. NFL players, meanwhile, face weekly physical collisions during their 17-game season. In comparison, the WNBA's condensed 40-game schedule, while certainly demanding, pales in comparison to the other major leagues. The backlash was swift, with some fans accusing Wilson of being out of touch with the realities of professional sports. One comment summed up the sentiment: "She thinks 40 games is hard? Try playing 82 games while flying coast to coast every week." The sarcasm and criticism were endless, with many suggesting that Wilson was undermining the efforts of athletes in other sports who play much longer seasons. Some even suggested that Wilson's remarks reflected a deeper issue, her seeming disconnect from the very league she plays for, and a lack of appreciation for the hard work that other athletes put in. But the schedule claim wasn't the only controversial statement Wilson made. She also confidently declared that she could beat NBA player Josh Hart in a one-on-one game. Yes, you read that right. Wilson, one of the most dominant players in the WNBA, insisted that she could defeat Hart, a respected NBA player known for his defensive skills and hustle, in a hypothetical one-on-one game. Not only did she claim that she could win, but she even predicted the score, 8-11 in her favor. While confidence is a key trait for any athlete, Wilson's bold claims seemed to cross a line. Fans and analysts alike were quick to point out the vast difference in the physicality, speed, and skill level between the NBA and WNBA. The physical size and strength of NBA players like Hart would give them a significant advantage over Wilson, whose height and skill set are tailored to the WNBA style of play. The result of such a matchup, many argued, would be anything but close. Hart's response to Wilson's comments was relatively mild and playful, but the internet wasn't so kind. Social media exploded with disbelief, with many mocking the idea of Wilson, despite her talent, being able to compete with an NBA player in a game of one-on-one. One user posted, "She needs to stop calling out NBA players and start calling out her own shooting percentage." Others argue that Wilson's comments were disrespectful not just to Hart, but to the skill level and athleticism of NBA players in general. The focus on this hypothetical matchup, they argued, overshadowed Wilson's own achievements and turned the conversation away from the WNBA's progress. Wilson's claims about the WNBA's schedule and her one-on-one showdown with Hart are just part of a larger pattern of controversial behavior that's been growing in recent months. In a time when the WNBA is finally gaining more attention and respect, Wilson's statements seem to have alienated fans rather than winning them over. Instead of using her platform to highlight the strengths of the WNBA and promote the sport, she has made it seem as though she is frustrated with the very success that is helping to elevate the league. Perhaps even more puzzling were Wilson's comments about the WNBA's rising popularity. As the league continues to grow in visibility and its viewership climbs, Wilson expressed frustration with the increased attention. She called the rising interest in the WNBA super annoying, claiming that it made her feel as though she constantly had to reprove herself as a player. Instead of embracing the growing respect and recognition, Wilson seemed to resent it, describing the pressure of living up to expectations as a negative aspect of her career. Fans were left wondering how Wilson could be frustrated by the very thing that many WNBA players have worked so hard to achieve more attention for the league. The WNBA has long struggled with issues like underfunding and lack of mainstream visibility, so for Wilson, one of the league's brightest stars, to express annoyance at the growing spotlight seemed counterproductive. One fan tweeted, "Does she want the WNBA to grow or just stay small so she can get all the attention?" The irony, of course, is that Wilson has benefited immensely from the WNBA's increasing popularity with endorsement deals and an MVP award that place her in the public eye. While Wilson has been embroiled in controversy, there is one player who has emerged as a bright, humble leader in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark. The Iowa star, who has been dominating the college basketball scene and is now poised to make her professional debut, has become a fan favorite for her talent and grounded personality. Clark's approach to her career stands in stark contrast to Wilson's recent antics, and it's clear that fans are taking notice. Clark has been praised for her humility and focus, both on and off the court. When she rejected a lucrative $1 million offer from the newly launched 3-on-3 basketball league Unrivaled, she did so quietly and without seeking attention. Her decision was seen as a sign of maturity, as she prioritized her long-term development and the growth of the game over a quick payday. Her rejection was also a statement about her commitment to the WNBA and the future of women's basketball, something that Wilson's recent actions have failed to emphasize. In contrast to Wilson's focus on herself and her frustrations, Clark has used her platform to build relationships with fans, promote the game, and lead by example. As the WNBA continues to grow, it's clear that players like Clark, who embrace the spotlight for the right reasons, are the ones who will shape the future of the league. Clark's approach has resonated with fans in a way that Wilson's actions have not. While Wilson's comments about the WNBA's schedule and her hypothetical one-on-one victory over Hart have drawn attention, they've done little to promote the game or grow the league's fan base. On the other hand, Clark's humility and focus on the sport's future have won her the admiration of fans and helped solidify her as the face of women's basketball. In the end, the contrast between A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark highlights two very different narratives in women's basketball. Wilson, despite her undeniable talent and accolades, risks alienating fans with her controversial statements and self-centered approach. Meanwhile, Clark is emerging as a true leader who understands the importance of her platform and uses it to inspire the next generation of players while promoting the growth of the sport. As the WNBA moves into a new era of visibility and opportunity, it is clear that the future of the league will be shaped by players who prioritize the sport's long-term success over personal headlines. The question now is which path will define the league's next chapter, the one marked by controversy and self-promotion, or the one that embraces humility, leadership, and a commitment to the greater good of the game? Fans have already made their choice, and it's clear which story resonates more.